What do spinning, submerging, hammering, catapulting, toilet tinkering, and mad scientists in baseball caps all have in common? You're about to find out.
There we go.
These are complicated times. Confusion, change, economic volatility, social disruption, inundation of information. Welcome to Imagining Tomorrow. This is a good news, bad news report about how we're meeting these challenges or not meeting them. And more importantly, how we're educating the next generation to work, to learn, and to lead.
We're going to have a big skills gap, and so what we need are kids that understand the importance, understand the technology, and can come in and help backfill all of that leadership and that knowledge that's going to be exiting the industry.
I mean, we know that we have a booming economy, and there's incredible opportunities, and a lot of those aren't going to our own students, our own youth.
So first, the bad news. Student motivation falls by half between elementary and high school. Teachers understand career-connected learning, but don't get much chance to practice it. And our emphasis on STEM has yet to be really transformative, especially among young women and people of color. In the workplace, more changes. Old careers vanishing, new ones exploding. Remote work in so-called gig economies, computers everywhere, and a game-changing shift from a product-based to a service-based transactive economy.
Being able to communicate is paramount. I mean, you can be the best and the brightest technically, but really what is going to allow you to participate in a real meaningful way is, can you convince others that your solutions are the right ones, and can you work collaboratively with people? So being able to communicate is very, very important.
85% of our economy now provides services. One driver is disintermediation, cutting out the middleman. But more critically, sheer profitability. For example, the percentage return on an automobile warranty, a service, is 18 times the margin on the product itself, the car. Look at a place like Seattle, for instance, built on products, airplanes, timber, fish. Now, Seattle is busy building a 21st century service economy. The service superstars, Nordstrom, Expedia, Starbucks, Costco, and of course, Amazon. And service means communications, people skills, thriving in teams, brainstorming, problem solving, presenting, convincing, motivating, informing, and leading.
When I'm trying to train students for the workplace, not just the interns, but the students here, it's the focus on critical thinking and really the focus on teamwork and communication skills. It's not just, here, run this experiment. It's, now run this one. Okay, now let's think about it. Here's what you got. Where do we go next with it?
Remember, we promised you some good news. Here are 4 dramatic ideas for successfully imagining tomorrow and the future of work. Be forewarned, these are brash, innovative, outside-the-box thinking. Our sources, a couple of hundred visionary teenagers who you'll meet next. First, succeeding by failing. The scientific method, trial and error, outproduces rote learning and acing the test, and yields tested real-world results. Second, extended conversations, questioning, mentoring, on-the-job training, apprenticeships, and internships outperform training manuals, lectures, and textbooks, face-to-face. Third, students leading their learning. Discovery and project-based lessons amplify interests, personal aptitudes, motivations, and ultimately career fit. Self-directed learning for a lifetime. Fourth, learning to learn perpetually. Processing change, evaluating information, thinking critically, solving problems, and sharing appropriately. The learning culture 24/7. It's a mission, a pilgrimage, a destination.
These experiences have helped open your eyes to career opportunities.
It's convening, contesting, conquering.
These two things, composting and lighting, our school reduced our carbon emissions by 4,000 pounds.
It's called Imagine Tomorrow. High school students offering tomorrow's sustainability solutions to today's problems.
So the estrogen compounds actually get dumped into rivers and streams.
Their subject is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math.
And process it to lay it up in layers.
Yeah.
That could be very interesting, right?
Their subtext is communications.
Because a lot of people aren't aware of the impacts that they have as individuals on the environment.
At Imagine Tomorrow, there's invention and innovation, of course, but the biggest single skill on display here all weekend is explaining.
You don't learn from listening to somebody lecture to you or tell you about something. You learn from what you screw up or what mistake you make doing a certain experiment.
I really think we're working hard to make sure our engineers can communicate. How do we communicate science to a lay audience? And how does the general public understand what we're doing and how important?
The ultimate destination for Imagine Tomorrow students is here at Washington State University. WSU not only hosts the competition, but because of its land-grant mission and its constant outreach to businesses and communities, has been imagining tomorrow all along. The competition fosters career-connected learning. Coaches and judges are passionate.
In your first turbine design, what did it look like? What was different? How did you get that efficiency?
Truly engaged.
So have you done any testing on the water that gets recycled? Is it
straightforward and candid?
So at Boeing, we used composite materials for airplanes, right?
And in the spirit of real-world validation, winners receive cash prizes.
I liked interacting with the judges when I was there participating, because being able to talk to people from Alaska Airlines or Clean Tech and talk to them about what they're working on was really cool.
Alaska Airlines is title sponsor for Imagine Tomorrow, which is organized into 3 challenges: the Boeing Aerospace Challenge, the Itron Food, Energy, and Water Challenge, and the McKinstry Built Environment Challenge. Contesting teams may choose one of 3 approaches to their challenge: technology, which is engineering-oriented, design, more systems-based, or behavior, looking at people and policy-based solutions.
We think that when you have a chance to touch an area that you have an interest in, that you're far more likely to build that interest into a career one day.
It's not just the technology, we need the people, we need thought leaders, we need people who are far-thinking folks that can explore these ideas and create new solutions for our customers.
Kim Newman, work for Camas High School as a science teacher in the Math Science Technology program. Imagine Tomorrow is this opportunity to explore ideas that you can actually be a problem solver and provide a solution to some very major societal problems.
The journey to Imagine Tomorrow begins months, even years before, in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana high schools.
Aquaponics is when you use the positive symbiotic relationship of a plant and an aquatic species to help both flourish and produce produce from both.
Camas High School will bring 6 teams to this year's competition. Lab space is crowded, competition is tight, and the scientific method offers its own fits, failures, and frustrations.
Well, you've never done science if you haven't failed, because science is trying and trying and trying again and learning, and isn't that all of life?
It's not just like a normal classroom where you just go in, the teacher lectures you, they teach you, and then you go and see yourself how it actually works, and it just makes it easier and quicker to learn.
At TriTech Skills Center, the whole exceeds the sum of the parts. It's a consortium of 7 school districts focusing expertise, personalized programs, and career connections.
It just makes you feel like you can do anything. You can see that you can do the same thing that they're doing, and you can probably go into that field and probably become better than them.
TriTech has invaluable connections, extended conversations with colleges, voc-techs, certificate programs, pathways to jobs, apprenticeships, and to imagine tomorrow. Question: can a material be developed to replace asphalt-impregnated tar paper for attic insulation? Answer: well, that's still in the data, but coming soon to the competition.
Of the kids under the age of 5 are kids of color. We got to build the pipeline. You can't sit on the end and complain that there's no talent and then bring people from other countries when you haven't done the work to help develop the talent.
Taft Academy in Greater Seattle faces an additional set of challenges as it prepares its teams for Imagine Tomorrow. Estimates say by 2020, over 60% of our jobs will be STEM jobs. And although nearly 1/2 of the workforce is women, they will have less than 1/4 of those jobs. African Americans and Latinos, each around 13% of the workforce, will have only a paltry 3% of those jobs.
You have to give them an environment where they participate, where they lead, where there's not a lot of downtime sitting and listening to somebody, where they're actually applying and doing. And you have to hire the right teams.
TAF is a public-private partnership with the Federal Way School District, STEM-focused, project-based, ambitious, and outside the box.
These don't match. Is that going to be an issue?
With a 95% graduation rate and 100% of those graduates accepted into colleges.
To me, it's low-hanging fruit. There are things that we can do in our public school systems that will make them so much better, that will get teachers to be excited about teaching again, leaders to be excited about leading again, but we just haven't done it.
I think with any competition, it's exposure. It gives the students exposure to so many different types of people, different situations, challenges.
STEM Charter Academy, Rathdrum, Idaho. 2 weeks to go. 6 IT teams are polishing their projects and their pitches.
Our students go through the process of failing, succeeding, But we want them to not just be employable, we want them to possibly be starting their own business and become entrepreneurs.
It's all about just the love of learning, and there isn't any complexity about testing, and the social dynamics haven't started to get too tricky, and really they just want to come to school every day and explore something new, and that's what I saw, smiles and happy and singing and just the love of learning.
What prompted our visit to STEM Charter Academy was its learning culture, using STEM first and foremost for skill building, then for curiosity, motivation, and excitement.
Every time a student asks her a question, she answers it with another question. And it goes round and round and round. Before long, nobody's told this child or the student what the answer was. They figured it out. They were led down that path.
These kids already understand that it's not in books, it's in skills. And those skills come from learning how to learn.
Excitement, exhilaration, exhaustion. Judges, contestants, and coaches agree the ultimate prize is the journey itself, the fits and starts, discouragement and discovery that got them imagining tomorrow in the first place. For the winners, a plaque and a check. For all the rest of us, just wait till next year. These huge changes in the way we work and the way we learn are changing the way we develop and educate the coming generations. This is no longer an industrial age or even an information age. According to the visionaries and pundits we've been talking to, the 21st century will be the relationship age. Daniel Godo is an Imagine Tomorrow success story. A competition winner, he liked WSU well enough to enroll in its honors program. This computer science class is one more step toward an eventual PhD and research career.
I want to go into R&D for a major company, and that also kind of like helped me decide to pursue my PhD because I love doing R&D.
Well, if you're studying the individual attributes.
I really think the great thing about an engineering degree in particular, I'm biased, is the opportunity to learn to problem solve. What are the constraints? What are my financial constraints? What are my engineering constraints? And coming up with a viable solution.
That some of these operations will automatically be
Everybody's a scientist, right? We all have questions, and we all want to solve problems, especially kids think they can kind of conquer the world or fix all the world's problems.
We're evolving a hybrid, or the blending of and management of both hard and soft technologies. Hard tech is embedded, wired, rigid, automated, and closed, built-in, robotic. Soft tech is adaptable and, above all, human-mediated and controlled. And this offers hope for people who fear we all may be replaced by robots or artificial intelligence. In fact, the opposite will be true. Our soft tech skills, oversight, problem solving, evaluating, planning, mediating, organizing, are more indispensable than ever.
I think they'd be surprised at the amount of collaboration on a daily basis. So on a daily basis, I spend my time with multiple people in multiple disciplines, huddled around a table, trying to figure out how we're going to address the next challenge. We make use of technology, certainly, but most of the interaction is person to person, coming up with new ideas.
So, what lies ahead? The future of our learning and our work and their critical interdependence. Here are 5 trend predictions. First, If we choose to, we can be free of the constraints of time and place. Work will be 24/7 and virtually wherever we want it to be. They call these ROWs, results-oriented work environments, largely self-managed and independent. Managers and supervisors could be miles or continents away. You're paid by what you do, not where you are or when you do it. Second, many of us will be self-directed learners, but expected to contribute our ideas and commitment to organizations.
My view on STEM education is that we shouldn't be deciding what these kids are going to need. We should be listening to the way that they want to live in cities and the way that they want to be educated. And so many of our institutions and many of our communities are going to need to be redesigned based on what the Imagine Tomorrow students are telling us. So that's what's so great about the competition.
You're taking right to the next plane.
Learning will be more collaborative and career-connected, with closer relationships among educators, trainers, and the private sector, who share the same desired outcomes.
I think it's the pace of technology. I think technology is moving so fast that it's hard for our teachers to even keep up with that pace. And so it requires industry to engage and help partner with teachers to provide them with the information and the learning tools that they can access easily to help share with their students and keep that pace going in the school system.
There will be a greater emphasis on social justice and equity in both the schoolhouse and the workplace to utilize all available human resources to their utmost potential.
We are not a multicultural society as much as we say we are. And so, for instance, when there are openings at companies and they say, well, who do you know? Well, who do I know? I know the people that I relate to. Who do I relate to? The people who look like me.
Fifth, we'll validate and fund multiple pathways to success, not just four-year baccalaureate degrees, but a host of career-centric, smarter learning outcomes.
Does that need to be on-the-job learning? Maybe. I can really see evolving mentorships happening younger and younger. How can you bring kids in to solve real-world problems? How can you do job shadowing earlier? How can you build mentoring programs?
And finally, a personal observation. We're going to have to think critically and carefully about this one-size-fits-all acronym we call STEM. In our reporting for this program, we found that the scientists, the technologists, the engineers, and the mathematicians are not all birds of a feather. In fact, they have very different training, career arcs, prospects, and temperaments. Scientists and mathematicians are usually engaged in research or teaching, and the academic competition can be fierce. Engineers are widely distributed over many jobs and disciplines as builders and implementers. Technologists are mainly in computer-related fields and by far the greatest demand. In fact, fully 70% of all the STEM jobs envisioned by the year 2020 will be computer scientists, techs, and programmers. For the students, coaches, mentors, and judges who've made the journey to Imagine Tomorrow, the future is theirs, as handy with an elevator pitch as they are with a computer program. And more importantly, interested, motivated, and already thinking about next year.
They are so more sophisticated than I was at that age, what they're able to do technically. But just their physical presence and their worldview is so much different than when I was a student. And so just being around them and feeling that energy gives me great hope for the future.